once we get to the runway and take off, we'll head north and reopen that GPS. I don't think we really need the checklist anymore. Let's do that. Well, views, instrument panel, GPS. We really don't need it to be that big. Oh, not enough power. Come on. What is that? Is that 7? Yeah, that's probably it. It's too big to be a 7.3. Oh, it's an Airbus. A321. Yeah, it told me. Taxiway is this. That's D11. Yeah, it shouldn't come as any surprise that Airbus is going to get there before we are. That's okay. That is okay. It wants us to go to 14, so we'll go to 14. Helps if I'm looking completely straight. I am using a CH Products Flight Sim yoke for those curious. I've had it for quite some time, and it's been a good piece of equipment.
Toledo ground. Pacifica 90244 with Mike, ready to taxi. IFR.
Pacifica 90244, taxi to and hold short of runway 7.
Switch to the tower frequency. Back on the throttle some.
Toledo Tower, Cessna November 52 Kilo Alpha, ready for north departure at runway 7. Cessna November 52 Kilo Alpha, cleared for takeoff, runway 7, north departure approved. Cleared for takeoff, runway 7, Cessna 2 Kilo Alpha.
Alright, we're cleared for takeoff. We beat that big ol' Airbus.
Toledo Tower, orbit 8238, ready for IFR departure. Runway 7.
Orbit 8238, hold short, runway 7. Traffic is Cessna Skyhawk on the runway.
Hold short, runway 7. Orbit 8238.
Okay, get that out of there. Hit the backspace, back.
Orbit 8238, taxi in position and hold.
Position and hold. Orbit 8238.
Slowly add the power in. Okay, 79. trim. Alright. Flaps up. Look behind us real quick. Power a little bit. Probably trim down a little. Alright. Now departing Toledo. This is the Toledo Express Airport. This is... let's turn out of here. Get on course. Little outside of the Toledo metro area, there's another airport that looks to be similar in size called Toledo Executive. It's not where flying in and out of. This one's literally down the road from where I'm living at, so I tend to fly locally. I don't really fly the big jets. I tend to fly little Cessnas or basically the smaller puddle jumpers. It's what I've got the most experience in. They're simple. I mean, I don't have my pilot's license. I have some flight hours logged and under training, but I've been around aviation my entire life, so I understand the basics of flight. In the event that I were flying with somebody and they were incapacitated and I happened to be in the right seat, I could take over if needed. But I'm not a certified pilot, even though I would love to be. But aviation is in my blood. I've been around it my entire life, and I love it. And there's nothing quite like the freedom of flight. You take off, you're flying, and you don't care about anything else. You're focused on flying and just looking at the scenery. And this is why I also don't like flying commercially in general, is just you miss out on flying at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet and getting to see the ground, and you get a new perspective on life. You can see, oh gosh, that's that place that I go to, and it feels like it's far away. It really isn't that far away. It just gives you a nice new perspective on things, and I really enjoy that. I mean, obviously this isn't 100% realistic looking, but it is what it is.
Toledo Tower, Pacifica Diner 244, ready to go. Runway 7, IFR, Adam.
Pacifica Diner 244, cleared for takeoff, runway 7.
Yeah, I'd love to have
Runway 7.
a set of rudder pedals and a decent joystick, so that I could eventually, do things a bit more seriously. With just a basic yoke and whatnot, I'm fairly limited on what I'm able to realistically do. So I can't control the rudder, so I have to have auto rudder, because that's how you'd really steer on the ground. I have turns auto coordinated. That's not realistic. There's just a lot of things that I'd like to do.
Tower, Bombardier, November 4389er, flight is 15 miles northeast.
But just you know, flight sim peripherals are not inexpensive by any means. Smoking is prohibited. That's very true. This is just the default Microsoft stock flight sim C-172 SP. So it's nothing. It's really nothing fancy. But for just getting started into this, I'm very happy with it. It's similar to what I'm used to flying in. I'm used to flying in a Cessna 175 Skylark. My grandpa's owned it since 1967, and it's a wonderful little airplane, and you never see very many of them. The 175 was never really overly popular because of the geared engine, the Continental engine that it had, and it was geared, so nobody, as my grandpa would put it, nobody knew how to fly it correctly. So they would always burn up the back of the engine, or they'd have it set at the wrong RPMs. Because of the geared engine, it would run, or it would indicate a higher engine I think it was a higher engine RPM or a higher prop RPM. It was one of the two. But it was, everybody thought it operated just like a regular non-geared engine, so that's where a lot of people would go wrong with it per se. And that's why it didn't really catch on in popularity, and that's fine. But it's the plane that I know the best. So I'm a little partial to it. I would love to one day have somebody get the ones, or take a 175 and put it into flight sim with good flight modeling and all that fancy stuff. It'd be really neat, because that's a plane that I'm familiar with, and I know that plane. I've even got a few loggable hours in it, so this is going to be a short little flight, because it's saying we ought to arrive at Jackson at 20 after 2, so in roughly 20 minutes or so, give or take. Pardon me while I get a drink. By the way, Mountain Dew, Pitch Black. Vote for Pitch Black on Decision 2016. Shameless plug. I'm not paid to say that. No, really, I'm not. But if anyone from Pepsi listens to this, by all means, I will plug you to the day I die, if you pay me. Or anybody for that matter. You want to pay me to play games and product placement? I'm all about that. Alright. Yeah, it's not exactly the most exhilarating thing in the world to fly a small airplane, especially local puddle jumping, but I like it. It's relaxing. I don't know. There's something about it that's just wonderful. See, I'm using this one. Ooh, look at that shine.
Orbit 308, contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9er, orbit 308.